The Treehouse is only 2 issues in and already breaking format with a pair of eerie tales instead of the typical trio. It may only be a double dose of sweetness, but as an extra Halloween treat this year, Brandon's Monster Morgue is dissecting the 2nd issue of Bart Simpson's Treehouse of Horror. Bart is in the treehouse looking at this very issue of his own comic. Kang sneaks up behind him as this cover slimes up childhood memories of reading Bruce Coville's Book of Monsters. Squirm into our first story, the gruesomely veiny Sideshow Blob, written by Paul Dini of Batman the Animated Series. Inside Springfield Prison, Sideshow Bob suffers a cold. There's the Homer plant from issue 1. Say hi, everybody! Dr. Nick has an experimental cure. Surprise, it makes things worse, transforming Bob into the title monster. He absorbs Dr. Nick in the prison staff and escapes in disgusting fashion. Meanwhile, Bart and Lisa deal with some bullies when Blobby shows up for a rampage of hunger. Bart and Lisa warn everyone, but in true monster movie spirit, the adults don't believe the kids, until it's too late. Apu believes the children, mostly because Slime Show Bob is already devouring his leg. Fighting back, Bart throws whatever junk food he can at the giant mass, trying to find a weakness. He's hurt by the freezing cold of a squishy. Hopefully Bart thinks fast enough. The Blob is one of my favorite movies of the 1950s and 80s. That gelatinous mass moves and eats with no regard for its surroundings. The already conniving Sideshow Bob, given the powers of such a creature, is a scary idea. A way more sinister take on the Blob than Homer's. Plus, keeping icy temperatures as the monster's weakness strengthens the comic's connection to the drive-in classic. Our second story is not for the skeptical. It's The Exorcister by Peter Bagge. Lisa is possessed by the spirit of superstar Madonna. Marge doesn't know what to do as she takes her to doctors and psychiatrists. It's up to Reverend Lovejoy, armed with the latest negative review of Madonna's acting, to release this devil's musician from Lisa's soul. It takes a while to actually get to the Exorcist stuff in this Exorcist spoof. The first half focuses on concerned parents and religious leaders cracking down on lower forms of entertainment. There are some direct references to the movie, like the spilled lemonade and Reverend Lovejoy's arrival at the Simpson house. I only have a passing familiarity with Madonna's music and history. I'm sure there are fans who understand the references and costumes better than I do. Considering Lisa's goody little two-shoes personality, having the singer behind Like a Virgin is not a weak contrast. Though having Lisa sing so much feels odd, since this is a comic book, not an audiobook. Before we depart this holiday, writers Peter Bagge and Paul Dini share some thoughts about horror and Halloween. Peter Bagge can't stand horror movies. He's too scared by them. Doesn't matter what they are. But he doesn't mind horror comics. He doesn't find those scary. Except for maybe those old Bible comics about how we're all going to hell. Paul Dini reminisces about his favorite Halloween prank he and some friends played on a kid-hating old man who never gave out candy by tying his mailbox to the axle of his car. The resulting vandalism was worth it to Dini and his friends, even after getting caught. The back cover says farewell to us with Kang starring in his very own Mars Attacks style trading card. Terrifying. The issue with this issue is we only get 2 stories. At around 14 pages each, they're about the same length as the tales from the first issue, so it does feel like we've been shortchanged. Sideshow Blob has been one of my favorite Simpsons comics since I was a kid, and I enjoyed it just as much as an adult. The Exorcister may have moved a little slow for my taste, but it's an interesting look back at how some groups would freak out over their kids' entertainment choices in the mid-90s. I hope we've gotten better since then. The Simpsons scared up 2 send-ups of beloved horror classics with this issue, and this isn't the last time the comics play with the usual format, as you'll see next time in the Treehouse.